Good morning. Preparing a screen. All right, guys, we're going to meet this week at the 10 o'clock hour. Um, as we begin to, move forward, we have one young lady that is, well, we have two, Cosmo, that'll be preparing, accelerate through the study course to move on. And then we still have one aesthetics young lady who is progressively moving forward as well. After that component, we'll go back to our regular schedule classes. And also at that time, we'll progressively on the aesthetic side move into, we'll try to hit skin analysis this week, but we'll move into skin analysis, treatment room, facials, all of the things that requires the hand component. So we'll be jumping into that to understand how all of that works, all the components of it works, and how also it relates to you taking your state board theory exam. For the next 2 weeks, we'll get a little gritty into those items. And when it comes to Cosmo, we're going to go straight into your state board preps, okay? Because neither of you have, Paquetta's already done, just study for her as far as the theory component, but Mackenzie doesn't have that long with us, and then she'll be preparing for her exam as well. Okay, so today, for the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, we do need to look at skin diseases and disorders of, diseases and disorders of the skin. And then on the Cosmo side, we need to look at diseases and disorders of the scalp. Okay, so major components. We can't do anything until we're able to recognize these factors. And you may say, Ms. Cox, what do you mean? This is the one thing that you take a knife and you can cut the cake, or you can slice the bread straight down the middle. Okay. It is going to bring you into a form of expertise, whereas individuals that do not have training, but they have a given skill, you don't take that away from them, but there's no expertise attached to it. Technical skill and expertise makes a very successful beauty professional. Okay, so let's talk about it on both ends. First, I'm gonna start with aesthetics when we talk about being able to recognize diseases and disorders. And I'm gonna also say conditions of the skin. Okay, being able to is going to be very important. Being able to recognize types of acne is going to be very important. For estheticians that really deal with the skin, cosmetologists deal with hair, skin, and nails. So you deal with all of it. And so if you're going to be dealing with the skin, you're the largest organ, okay? The one that protects everybody and everything else within the body, all right? How do we sell ourselves is making sure that this skin can be shifted, transitioned, remain beautiful, come to a place where people begin to love the skin that they're in, okay? Whether that includes options of makeup or daily facial routines, whether you're trying to prevent something from happening or you're trying to maintain something. You can't do anything unless you're able to recognize what's going on with the skin. There are conditions, okay? There are conditions for cosmetologists and estheticians. I want you to remember this word. You can check the chat. That word is called contraindications. Contraindications, okay? Contraindications always pop up. You will say, break it down for me. A contraindication is a doubt. It's a sign. Okay. Some people say, well, I saw that and I knew I should have did this. Yeah. Contraindication is when a doubt that you should be doing a service or not, whether you should be doing a service or not. And contraindication is a sign that I don't know if I should be doing this service or not because I see this, because I'm talking to the client about what she got going on with her hair, what she got going on with skin, what she doing on the outside. And these are signs, these are red flags that tell you no, do not perform the service. Okay. Contraindications are you training your eye. Simply, you have to train your eye. I cannot teach you to train your eye. You have to train your eye. I train my eye by people watching. Yes, I know. I think I asked y'all that last week. I train my eye, number one, by people watching before I even touch it, before I get an up close look at it, before I feel it, before I do anything. I trained my eye by people watching. Okay. From being behind somebody at the grocery store, walking in the mall, just watching people hair and skin. Okay. It was something that I needed to, it was almost like a test, a quiz, a fun game for me to figure out what type of skin that person has or what type of hair that person may have. And I would train my eye to catalog the things I see so it'll come up again before I even ask questions. Those things that I remembered would come up, and they either support my next question or it will confirm or deny what the client is saying, which means clients do lie about a whole lot of stuff. Okay. And when it comes to stuff that really will put them into a predicament of whether or not they're going to get their service or not, you'll find them try to bend the lie a little bit or bend the truth a little bit so they can continue to get their service. One thing I will say about you guys coming into the industry, yes, trust your gut. And honestly, trust what you see. Okay. And go deeper. Because sometimes what you see ain't really what it is. Go deeper. He said, "Oh yeah, she got black hair. She said she was born with it. Da 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 da." Yeah. Go in, look at the scalp, pull your microscope out, pull your steamer out, put some heat on that scalp and see what happens. See what them pores come out. Okay. I had a client that was she was from a foreign country, came in for a relaxer, and I think I was teaching my early years of teaching. She came in for a relaxer. My student did not fill out the client card on her. So I go over, I see the student starting, and I go over to the student and said, "Let me see her client record card because I want to have a consultation. I want to talk to everybody and find out what's going on." Before I can get over there, the student was already applying relaxer to her crown area. She had 4-part section. She was already reclining. She had put relaxer in the first section, and she was applying it, taking her subsections, applying it, section apply. Well, when I get over there, the student stumbles and she closes her eyes like, "Ooh, I just got knocked off my pedestal." Like, I'm like, "What's going on?" She was like, "I'm dizzy all of a sudden." So I said, "Okay, go have a seat." I get another student to finish. And the other student goes, "There's this weird smell. I'm not dizzy, but there's this weird smell." I come back over and I can definitely smell the difference. Okay. From when the lady came in, I'm smelling the difference. So what's happening? The lady had her diet. Of course, it's not our diet or traditional diet, So her diet is different. And so when we put the relaxer on her, the relaxer started to break down the hair. And it does that and opens up the pores and it breaks down the hair, preparing it to relax. And your body temperature helps break that down. Well, as the lady, the relaxer was breaking the hair down, her pores was opening and whatever was in her pores was coming out. And so it was superseding the relaxer and it was causing one of my students to be dizzy and the other one to have to be annoyed about this weird smell. And so literally what in her body was coming out of her body. So that sodium hydroxide relaxer was like a detox to the scalp. It was opening a pore and pulling everything up to the surface. And so mainly she was African, but her traditional diet or food that they continuously eat, and which is, different from our diet at the time, my students' diet, they were not used to it. So whatever she had in her system, once those pores opened up, everything came to the surface. If they would have done a more in-depth consultation, they would have been able to, detect what was going on with her, what are some of the things that she had, and it was causing her to itch. Okay, so you got a whole relaxer, and she had said she had just did like a fast, and then they had a feast, and then here we go with the relaxer. And so we just needed to do a more detailed relaxer, a detailed consultation to find out what was going on. Where the contraindications come in at, the young lady had been scratching as well. So in getting a relaxer, that's part of the question she would ask. Has anything been irritating? I would have asked about the foods because some foods are irritating, some beverages are irritating. Take note, anything that's caffeinated, Coke, coffee, tea, anything that's caffeinated. What I do now, Red Bull, anything that's caffeinated, energy drinks, that whatever goes in, it has to come out. Most of the time, it's going to come out in the area where there are the most pores, and that's pores with follicles and things like that. So that's going to be scalp, underarm, pubic area. And most of the time, you're going to find it's the scalp mainly, okay, that you're going to see a lot of pullback from. Now, what does that mean? Itchiness. It's going to come out the pore, itchiness. So we're doing any kind of chemicals, and a person has been drinking, they drink a lot of sodas, they drink a lot of tea, a lot of coffee. Possibly a person can have some irritation on the scalp while that chemical is trying to process the hair. And so she says she drank a lot of coffee, herbal teas, things of that nature. So that's where her initial sensation, itchiness, was coming from as well. On top of that, she hadn't shampooed her hair in like a month or two. So we had so many factors of what could possibly be going on, dirt or sweat, and also whatever she had inside her body, her excretory system was now pushing it out as much as possible. The pores were opening, and they opened from the relaxer. Okay. And the relaxer being at at least a 9 pH, 9.5 probably pH. It was like a non-brand school relaxer. So I would say it's about 9.5 pH. It was still strong. It is extremely strong and caustic to relax the hair and pull whatever was on the scalp up from the scalp. So we had a whammy of a whole lot of stuff going on. So we must learn our contraindications. In this case, the contraindications would be this. If you see signs of infection, okay, most of the time your clients will not be able to get, any sign of infection. I would be cautious about doing chemicals on the client. So when I say chemicals in the form of skincare, we're talking chemical peels, acne treatments, things of that nature. Okay. So things are rosy, things are great. is, you're walking in the garden when just talking about maintaining. You just want to do a cleanser, just want to do an exfoliator, a mask. You just talk that's just a walk in the park. Okay. But when we really start about treating the skin, now we have to go in with different adverse ingredients and chemicals and different forms of exfoliation. Now we're looking at advanced, I'm talking about advanced topics. I'm talking about da, 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 machines, electrotherapy. We have to ask the questions of what's going on with the skin. You cannot move forward until you find out what has been and what's going on now. Okay. When we talk about the same thing in the usage of performing hair services, the skin and scalp has a normalcy. Okay. Anything outside that normalcy, it should be red flags popping up. Beauty professionals should not be casual and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna just put some over it. I'm gonna put a cap over it. I'm gonna put some over it. Oh, I ain't gonna touch that part. I'm gonna just put some over it. We can't be that casual. We cannot be that casual. Okay. We really have to get in there deep and find out what's really going on. For my hair clients, I remember where I was when Hurricane Katrina hit. I was not in New Orleans. I was in Memphis, Tennessee. I was in East Memphis, and I worked at a barbershop. Okay. Um, Individuals, migrated here, and of course, they don't need their hair done. So I started to get clients in who were from New Orleans who actually was in the flood waters who wanted to get their hair done. My observation, that's why you never know anyone's story. My observation, the skin had light dark spots, had almost like random rashes on the skin. This is my observation from the scalp, the neck, face, arms. And for the ones that I really saw this stuff to the surface, they waded in the water. They were walking through the water. And as you know, there's so much going on in that water. So I felt like it had whatever was in the water really did a toll on them as they were trying to come back. Okay. As they were trying to, get life back together. The hair felt like straw. If you know a straw broom, it was dry, felt like straw with not whole styles. And I'm seeing pictures of people who were normally going to the salons every week, every 2 weeks, beautiful hair. And within 30 days, the hair just did a whole nother turn. And also, there's a lot of trauma from going through that situation that can cause the hair, skin, and nails to react crazy. But in seeing that, my ultimate job was to decide whether chemicals were present or not. Should I do it? Or should I just move to a more treatment and maintenance? Okay, so I opted to move to treatment and maintenance. And if they could find protective styles, that would be great. And I could just treat the scalp. There was a time that people who got braids still came to the salon to get their scalp treated. So for those individuals who work in a salon, clients who get braids still have salon appointments. Okay. It's not oh, well, I won't see you for another 3 months. No, my clients were still coming. Our clients in the salon were still coming every 2 weeks to get scalp treatments because they knew the importance of maintaining the hair while in the protective style, while in the braids. And we would treat the hair, treat the actual braids, clean the braids, apply oils and lipids to do whatever we need to do, clean the scalp. And that allowed them to hold on to their braids a little longer. But the ones in the salon, we never did without because we, even though they went into braids, we still kept hair appointments. And they were referred to as scalp treatments. Same thing for many other factors as well when it concerns skin. So that was an important thing to think about. If something tragic happens around us, and you see a lot of individuals migrate towards Mississippi, northern Mississippi, and then West Tennessee, a lot of time they're going to carry the trauma in their hair, skin, and nails of what they went through, whether it was a hurricane, a flood, or whatever. It's going to carry there. Our contraindications, if you see certain things, what you should do and what you should not do. Because the hair was dry, the hair was hard, and it felt like straw, the proteins need to be repaired. The actual hair that you cannot see, the carbon, the hydrogen, all of that needed to be repaired. Okay. They have something now called hair peptides. And if you ever heard of K18, Olaplex, they do two different things. But hair is going into like it's AI type of hair. Okay, so they're using all of the things that hair is made up of and then trying to duplicate that in the product so you have more beautiful hair faster. And I really do like some of the results that I've been seeing. It can get a little pricey, but I really do like some of the results. I'm thinking if I would have had what we have now back then, their hair would have been in better condition. We wouldn't have to go without relaxers, without suppressed systems. I mean, without everything. Okay. Brazilian blowouts. Nothing could be done. No chemical. Okay. And reduce heat. And so that was my choice to at least rebuild. And it was a lot of chelating shampoo. Chelating shampoo is a cleansing shampoo, but it is like a double whammy. Okay. Though it doesn't have a lot of lipids in it, it ain't gonna do no moisturizing. It's gonna go in there and do what it needs to do is pull junk off the scalp. All right. Just like a cleanser would do for the skin, is a double cleanser says, hey, we're gonna go back again and we're gonna pull junk up off the scalp, up off the skin. Okay. So all of that had to be done before we can even figure out what's going on. Scalp conditions, all of that. We had so many issues, and this come from a remnant of people that were just traumatized by trying to just save their lives. Okay. And so, hey, we live, but my hair is nothing. Hair you can buy hair. Okay. As long as you have your life. Let's look at disease disorders and conditions. Guess what, guys? Conditions you can do. You have to rule it out as a condition of the skin or condition of the scalp. Conditions, if your client has conditions, you can do. Guess what? Split ends is a condition. I can do her hair. Okay, but ringworm on the scalp, I cannot do her hair. Got it? Okay. So conditions. You can service clients with conditions who have conditions of the skin and conditions of the scalp. You can even service clients who have disorders, but here's one but. They must have a release from a physician. Okay. You recommend clients who you suspect to have a disorder of the skin or a disorder of the scalp to go to a physician. Once they return from the physician, they should have something that says, okay, I'm cleared, free to get regular services. We can go back to the regular scheduled program. Why is this important to you? Because you're going to be licensed under the state of Tennessee. State of Tennessee does not allow beauty professionals, licensed beauty professionals, to perform services on individuals with diseases of the scalp and of the skin. Okay. We're not talking about heart disease, anything like that. We're talking about contagious diseases on the scalp and on the skin. Okay. So you're not able to service clients who have diseases of the scalp and skin. And our state says when it comes to disorders, you must refer them to a physician and they gotta have a clearance. Gotta have a clearance. You can already see where people have already pushed this back, because if a client comes in and they said, I would pay double if you just go ahead and get this done. And I even had a client that wanted lashes and she was even on the table. And sometimes the teacher has to take the bad guy rap. I just happened to take the bad guy rap that day. My students came out. I was working for a school, and my students came out of the waxing room, and they said, this lady is coughing so bad we can't finish her lashes. I said, finish her lashes. And she's coughing. Let her up. Let her get some breath. So I come in. Everything is a teaching moment. So anyone go to a school that has a clinic floor, everybody's going to be watching if you're getting a service. So everything is a teaching moment. I go in the room and I have my students and I asked the lady, is she okay? She said, oh yeah, I just have bronchitis or whatever. And I just want to go ahead and get this taken care of. I said, let me take a look at your eye. Maybe I can, whatever. Now the lady did not have a mask on. She just had her hand. That was one thing. I looked at her eye and I looked at her eyes. They was a little flush, pale, a little yellow. I said, ma'am, I think you're a little, you have a little more going on than what we know. And we may not be able to service you today just because of the coughing and all of the germs and things like that. And I pointed to the notice on the door that we can't service clients that have diseases. And it was more so like, skin diseases, things of that nature. Did you know that Tennessee looks at the common cold as a disease? I think it's a disease anyway. The common cold as a disease. So if a client comes in and they have a cold, they have the flu, they just need their hair done before they go to the doctor. They need whatever they need. If they have a common cold, flu, pneumonia, all that stuff, and they say, I'm all right, I just want to get my hair done. I'm all right, I just want to get my facial. I don't want to miss my appointment. Y'all can't service them. You can't service them at all because it's communicable disease. It could spread from one person to the next. Got it? That's how the pandemic started. Okay. Coronavirus. That's all of that. So, and I'm doing air quotes because don't nobody really know the truth. But things spread from one person to the next. The people on the ship, we ain't heard nothing else about the people on the ship, but it's the hydrovirus, it spread from one person to the next. Okay. So it's something to really, even the flu, all right? Even your common cold, you're touching stuff. It spreads from one person to the next. That person cannot come into your business and you cannot do their service. You may say, well, they're paying me double. The state don't care. Turn your license back in. Okay, take the money, give us the license. That's what the state is going to say. Take the money, give us the license. Okay, we don't care. You cannot service clients that have contagious diseases. Okay. Also, if you have the contagious disease, cold, flu, doing it, I'm trying to get as much money as I can, I get better, you cannot service. And I know people have been, you guys can put in the chat, count on your hands and fingers how many people you've seen at work sick. How many people you've seen come to school sick. Okay. You can't. Y'all, that's what the state says. You cannot service anyone that has disease. And if you have the disease, you can't. So what you're saying, what will happen? Somebody can report it. They'll come out. They'll do an inspection, pull your license off the wall. You got to go before the board. Once you go before the board, at the end of the day, you're going to, once you go before the board, it'll be public record and you'll have to talk to them about why you Stay open to perform services while you are at work doing services, and you have to bring your physician note that says you're cleared to go back to work. All right. So, and if you were performing a service on someone, they found that someone was in their sick, which may be likely, the board wouldn't move that fast. But at the end of the day, you will have to, you may have to do a fine. And for me, they've been handing out fines left and right. Okay. So that may be something you want to think about is, man, my client coming here coughing and sneezing and doing all that. I may not be able to service her. Okay. It says skin disorders and disease are fascinating and complex subjects. Estheticians must be knowledgeable about skin disorders and diseases, of course. All right. Why we need to be able to learn with our eye, you got to be able to recognize different things. When we talk about acne, one pimple does not mean acne. Systemic group of breakouts, things of that nature. Acne comes in grades, so it's not like one is better than the other one, but grade A, B, C, grade 1, 2, 3, you're talking about acne. The higher the number, the worse case of acne you will find. Okay. Never work on skin you do not recognize. Skin should be soft. It should be even, one tone, smooth texture. All right. Without any blemishes or light blemishes. And when I say blemishes, I'm talking maybe birthmark or something. And so that's why I said light blemishes. Okay. If you have dark spots, if there's moles present, if there's rashes present, if there's things that are outside of the normalcy of the skin present, you need to do an in-depth consultation. Same thing going on with the scalp, the skin, the nails. Okay. If the nails are not flush and pink, like pressed down white and then blush pink when you remove your pressure off that nail. Okay. If your nail is dark, if there's lines in the nails, if the nail is dry and rough, if the skin around the nails is dry, we need to go back again. Okay. Because there's some abnormal stuff going on with the nail, and a healthy nail does not look like that. Same thing with the scalp. If there's itchiness, if there's sores, if there's blisters, if there's dandruff. The technical term for dandruff is pityriasis. So if there's dandruff present, okay, but now it smells, now it's oily, it's waxy. If there's ringworm present, okay, hey, we're not at our normal place. We need to recap and see what's going on and go back around. So we always have our eyes open. And for family, contraindications are going to be so important because your family is going to be the first ones that you do consultations on. So you want to find out all the good stuff, the bad stuff that's going on with their hair, skin, and nails. Recognizing a potential contagious skin disorder can stop the spread of infection. Let me tell you, clients want to come in and they want to get their services. No matter how long y'all call each other family or friends, it is a business, okay? And they feel that if they're paying you, they should get their services. I have a story for every day of the year. Every day. Okay? This is going to be my last one. Working in the same beauty school as the lady. First of all, let me go back to the lady. The lady had to be removed. She was very irate. I think she wrote a letter. She was very mad. I didn't let her get her lashes. But this is what the cause was for me to stop. She had this pus-like substance that was oozing out of the sides of her eye. That told me it was something more than just a common cold. She had this grayish looking pus that was coming out of the corners of her eyes. When I got down there to look at her eyes, no way my students could do those lashes. And I said they should have led with that first, then the heavy coughing, the germs. This is way prior to me opening up my own school. But yeah, we could not perform the service. I couldn't put the students in danger. And we had to make an example of, you know, if they would have put the lashes on, it may have would have caused an infection. We don't know where that pus is coming from. And anytime there's pus, there's a sign of infection. So she was mad that we gave her money back and would not complete the service. Just that on that. Okay. Same school, this young man brought his sister in. She had I don't want to mispronounce it, hijab. Or she was covered from the head to the toe. Okay. She wore more likely around men who are not family or her husband, and she didn't have a husband. She wore her head covered at all times, face covered. Okay. The only traditional culture thing that a beauty professional must learn too is people come from many different areas and they have many different cultural traditions. Most individuals who are not married, who wear that covering, they cannot reveal themselves to men. Okay. So if you had a male student or it was some barbers on the same right next to them and you had to work on her hair, I would probably have to take this student out of respect for her culture, if I had the time and space, to an area where there was no male presence in order for her to remove her covering from her head. Okay. There were no males in the school at that time. So ringing her up, we had a student who did not perform consultation. She just took the student straight to the bowl. She took the client straight to the bowl. When she took the client straight to the bowl, they pulled off her covering. Okay. She applied, it looked fine, long black hair. She applied the water and started to see these little gray things pop up, gray specks. Those were eggs, y'all. Those were head lice. They were the eggs. Lice had laid eggs in her hair, on her hair and scalp. Lice. Okay. And at that moment, she comes, two hands up, Miss Cox. I come down. I'm like, what's going on? I can see it before I even get there. Service has to stop. Everything that she used on the client has to go into laundry, has to be bleached or thrown away. Let the student make the choice. We have to bleach down everywhere that client was, from the chair, sweep the floor, and then that whole bowl was not used for the rest of the day. It went through disinfection. Okay. It went through multiple disinfection processes. From the neck, floor, we wiped everything down just in case something jumped. Okay. They were very, very upset. I'm sorry. Have to be upset at somebody. I do understand. Refund. But with us servicing so many people, and my student, if she would have serviced her, my student would have to go home to her family. She would have picked up something and taken whatever she had picked up at the school home to her family. She has to cook, babies, things like that. That's how things just get out of whack. So it's not good for us to just be wanting to take the money without doing the necessary consultations and overview, and we thinking we seen them one, we seen them all. No. And anytime someone comes in and has that covering, ask questions. How long have you been wearing the covering? How often do you wear the covering? Tell me about the covering. What are your religious rules or sectors? If I'm going to service you, I need to know all the details. Okay. And then I would take it off. I would have had a spray bottle with water. I'm going straight to the scalp and I'm spraying from this. I'm taking a section, I'm spraying from the scalp and all the way down to the ends of the hair. All right. Because it popped up soon as water came up. So I would have seen it before I would have even serviced the client, took her to the bowl. Because once you got them at the bowl, psychological impact is, oh, I'm done. Oh, it's a done deal. they might as well finish me. I'm at the bowl, but that's not so. Okay, but we don't want to put a bad taste in our client's mouth, so we have to be recognizable of things up front. Okay, we want to look at contagious skin conditions, and stop the spread of infection. This is one reason why in the beauty salons, spas, nail salons, we were not allowed to service clients for a while because of COVID, the coronavirus. All right. And they'll shut down a whole lot of stuff. Okay. Simply because of that as well. So we have to be very, very careful. Anytime that we're dealing with individuals that have a medical concern, we know we cannot diagnose, even though we may know what it is. You have to refer them out, and they have to have something before they're able to come back in the building and get service. Guys, this is why I like open salon concepts. I want that to come back, and not so much suites, because in suites, you don't have individuals with expertise to help you recognize or see things or catch things that you don't catch. Enclosed in the salon suite is beautiful, it's amazing, but you don't have that camaraderie, and you're not able to say what you think of this. Have you seen this before? But when you're open salon concept, you have individuals that have may seen so much throughout all of their years, and then you have some individuals that can really tell you just from the jump before even looking at it, hey, this is what that is. This is what that is. And if you're a new stylist, a new professional coming out, you're gonna need that strong mentor, that strong eye to tell you what they've seen, because nothing is old. It just goes around again. So it's good to have that. And it's also good to collaborate with medical professionals as well. So cosmetologists and estheticians will collaborate with a dermatologist, okay? A dermatologist is a person who is a doctor of studying about skin, the study of skin. Dermatology is the study of skin, okay? Remember dermis, epidermis, the skin layers, and now we have dermatology, it's the study of skin, okay? And it's disorder, diseases and disorders. Now, let me tell you this. With cosmetologists, you have another doctor I want you to refer to. It's a trichologist. 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 Estheticians, I want you to refer to a trichologist as well. Trichologist. The trichologist studies the diseases and disorders of the scalp. Their job, they don't care anymore about doing the hair and making it pretty. They'll send you that business. They want to know why. They study the question why. Why did their hair fall out? Why is their scalp doing this? Why is that going on their skin? Why is that important for estheticians to find a trichologist as well? Because estheticians, based on what city you're from, have anybody looked at the STD rates? Anyone know any numbers, STD numbers for Houston, Atlanta, Memphis, and Mississippi, different parts of Mississippi? As a beauty professional, those people who are infected come to your business. Not saying mistreat them. No, 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 no. Once you do the consultation and you learn, the consultation will ask, do they have these particular things going on? As they're honest with you and you learn. This is one thing you need to find out. What's in the body comes out, remember, through the scalp, through your intimate area, through underarms. Yeah. Yeah. What's extremely high in every category. And so if you're looking at the area where you got the most hair, where the most hair grows, and as that virus or whatever they got going on, those and STDs, it does the cycle through the body. It comes like an in and it pushes out if you got if you it's treated. Okay. And so if you're talking about I want to do Brazilian waxes, I want to waxes, can you imagine how many people out there waxing don't have no license and don't know that what they're doing and what they're seeing, they could be touching the out part of a STD?
Uh-huh.
Girl, Siri, I did not ask you. But also for the hairdressers, it comes out through the scalp. So a lot of things that we're trying to figure out what's going on with the client. Client ain't telling you that they got gonorrhea and chlamydia. The client's not telling you that. Okay. That's why it's important for us to build a rapport with the client. You want them to trust you because everything they got going on it affects your job and what you have to do for them. Hair, skin, nails. Okay. So, and with a combination of stuff that they get going on, it shows on the outside of the body. Okay. Different forms. Of course, we know there's different forms of herpes simplex. We know there's different forms of it that's sexually transmitted as well. We have to deal with that. So you may say, Ms. Kosh, you mean to tell me I already studied beauty. I got to go over here and study health too? Yep. Yep. Look at the numbers. If your clientele is Gen Z, you find in the school participated last year in an AIDS testing drive, and they were targeting 14 to 24. And they wanted our school to help pass out condoms and gift cards at a Walgreens. And you know what? We left the school, y'all, and we went up to Walgreens and we helped because they were saying they were not getting tested. So if you got a test, you whether it was positive or negative, just get tested. You got $50 gift cards, and if you were in a younger range, they gave you more. You were the adults outside of like if you were 40 something, you got a $25 gift card. Okay, of course I called my crew and all my students that was outside of the range, they got tested, but they ended up getting 25. From 14 to 24 got tested, they got $50. Okay. They were just trying to find an incentive just to get them tested because there's so many people who are not even a part of the numbers we see. And that was, AIDS, HIV. That was a particular test for HIV. And the numbers are high in Shelby County for those ages, 14 to 24. And those are the people you see every day. Now, I forgot the statistics of how many per 10, 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, and stuff like that. But the statistics were crazy, which makes me think when you get 10 people together, at least, I don't want to say, but it was sad. But we were happy to come out and support that organization at Walgreens on Riverdale. And we gave out condoms. They could pick up as many condoms as they wanted. Okay, because the objective here is still to protect themselves. But y'all, it was yeah, stuff comes out through the hair, skin, and nails. And if your clientele is between certain areas and they're always or they live in certain cities with high numbers, you're gonna have clients come in with these issues. So don't just hear, oh, I just got this going on, I got that going on. Know your numbers, trust your gut. It is something else, something else, something else. If it tells you to go deeper, go deeper. Okay. And when these things come out on the top of the head, sometimes people lose their hair and they don't grow hair anymore. If someone is going bald, it should be one color. If someone has spots of baldness, when I say spots where we know it's bald, but it's not one color, it's like maybe 2, 3 different shades or something going on in one area, there's definitely was something present. So as And ringworm is not a small thing, it's a big thing. It can cause you to lose your hair and your skin to change forever. It'll kill all your follicles, potential hair growth, everything. Okay. So it could be as small as wingworm or you know, or it's more drastic as HIV. Okay. But I do know how and I've had experience with clients that had um hair loss and she ended up losing her hair due to sexually transmitted diseases. Okay. And just went into alopecia, totalis alopecia, and which means all of her hair fell out. Okay, all of her follicles were dead. And when we see these things, even though you may be dealing with the skin, you're going to look at their hair, look at their scalp. It's going to tell you a story of what's going on with the skin. Look at their nails. It will tell you a story of what's going on with the skin. Emergency, mom. Okay, yeah, it wasn't that bad. But what do you guys feel about that? Have you guys seen that? Um, did you ever think that your beauty profession, you also have to go and look at the health department and see what the numbers are for the area you live? Because if you're servicing clients and they're coming in and you know about what age they are, that's something you have to. And with consultation is next week. Well, consultation is Thursday and Friday, so that's something you have to think about when consultation is. Okay, I recognize disease and disorders, and then this also is going on. You even have to learn about smells because if you're going to be doing waxing, you might have to be double masked because a lot of things come out of the body. And I don't want you to be tacky with it, I want you to be tasteful and still service the clients. But people, when you see things, everybody is not able to be serviced. And I think that's one of the biggest things also is that people having a lack of knowledge and still entering the field um, and wanting compensation. That's a bad thing. Okay. But yeah, what do you guys think? It's better safer than sorry, but it has a major impact on you guys. Um, I'm gonna talk about some of the main issues that esthetician and cosmetologists will be dealing with when we look at diseases and disorders. For one, estheticians, um, and I look at the biggest issues that people have going on. How do you stay in the know of what's going on with somebody's skin? You ask questions. Go to a party, ask questions. Ask questions about people's skin all the time. And no, we're not offending them, but there's a professional way. I'm an esthetician. I want to ask you about something, something you may be studying. I know women within their 30s and 40s and people of color, they go through something called melasma. It doesn't really affect our lighter European sisters as much as it does us. It mostly affects those who are pigmented. Okay. Melasma can go from just a little bitty spot to cover half your face. Okay, melasma could be your skin could be one tone. It starts off with this little spot on your forehead, and then all of a sudden it covers your eye and forehead. What does that do to a person who, they're like, what is going on? Why is this getting bigger? What is going on? Okay, melasma. Melasma is still being reviewed. It is still being, case studies are still being done. A lot of time individuals have to go through the process. Okay. They have to go through different processes. So we're talking hyperpigmentation, acne, rosacea, which has a sensitivity to the skin. When we're talking about the scalp, we're talking about different forms of pityriasis, different disorders. Nothing that really, when we talk about the hair is mostly conditions. We can service that, but we're talking about scabies. We're talking about lice. When we're talking about the face, the skin, we're talking about dendrites. Okay, well, those are skin lights. Things that can jump and spread. We're talking about fungal infections. So all of those are things that you're about to learn and dap into. And if you see something, you must say something. Remember, we cannot diagnose. We don't have a medical license, but we partner with medical professionals. Okay. So when we talk about lesions and we see different things, sometimes everybody knows what a scab is. Okay. We know traditionally what a scab is. When you see a scab, your skin is healing. What did we learn last week? The older you get, the longer it takes that area to heal, the longer it takes for a scab to come in to heal. So this is why we drink our protein shakes and we drink our collagen, we take our vitamins, especially the older we get, because it pushes repair faster in our body. Okay. And so someone could cut their hair at 17, hair grow back longer than it was in 6 months, 8 months, okay, a year. Whereas someone 40 cuts their hair, on average, it takes them way longer, twice as longer for their hair to grow back, if it even grows back, because the repair is starting to decline the older you get. But that's why you have to keep maintenance to keep it up at a certain level. And you don't want it to get all the way down. Let's look at lesions first. And really, this is going to be you training your eye. There are structural changes in the tissue. Okay, so the tissue has structural changes. So we're talking about layers of skin. We're talking about the skin. Skin should be smooth, but structural changes, you may have a dip, may have a dent, it may be raised, it may be an indication. There's three types of lesions, and a lesion is a mark, a wound, an abnormality. You know something is wrong. Okay. It is not supposed to be there. Abnormality. Okay. A wound or mark. There's three types. All right. There's a primary, secondary, and tertiary lesion. Each one has a higher stake. Okay. Lesions can involve the circulatory system. Okay. It can involve the circulatory system. So now we're looking at different things we want to feel. Okay. So this is why we want to feel and we want to touch stuff. Because if the skin should be smooth and you run your hand across and you feel like a lump, something is wrong. That's supposed to be a red flag for you. Your light bulb's supposed to go off. If you rub your arm and you feel an indentation, then it come back up, something is wrong. Okay. Red flag light bulbs go off. And for estheticians, you're looking for this on the face. You're looking for this on the neck, within the neck area, and the décolleté. Those are your areas mainly you study. The décolleté is going to be from breast, shoulder, top of breastbone, cleavage, shoulders, neck, and face. Those are your domains. You also have the hands and you also have the feet, but mostly you're going to deal with the décolleté, the neck, and the face. Hairstylists, you guys have hands, you guys have feet, you have face, and you have scalp. Okay, so you're looking, this is why we look through stuff, we feel stuff, because our senses are trying trying to pick up on something that is not supposed to be there. Okay. You can prepare to shampoo someone's hair and you can feel lumps on their scalp. I'm gonna ask questions. Period. I'm going to ask questions. Let's look at primary lesions, and that's what we're going to study today. Primary lesions, bulla, okay? It's raised. Let's see. Okay. Raised skin. Large blister containing a watery fluid similar to a vesicle requires medical referral, which means you cannot service this client. They got to go out. All right. Primary lesions are initial stages of development or change. Okay. It may have forms of liquid that may cause these elevations. So think about swelling. Examples, contact dermatitis, large second-degree burns. Yeah, you're going to the doctor. Refer them out. Okay. And just think, if you're massaging a particular area and this fluid is here, you could burst it. So it's basically like, yeah, it says a large blister. Let's look at this cyst-like. So yeah, we have a cyst. And I know you guys have seen or heard about cysts in different areas. Okay. There's cysts in different areas of the body. All right. Fluid as well, fluid-like. Sometimes it's very thick as well. Okay. With the cyst, you cannot just drain it. You have to remove the sac of the cyst as well, or it's gonna fill back up. Okay. How many of you guys watched Pimple Popper? Or you're obsessed with the Pimple Popper lady? Have you seen videos? And here's the thing, don't be too quick to tell somebody when you see pimples, come here, let me get that. There's so much germ bacteria that's in there. And if you don't use gloves, I'm going to come find you myself. Okay. If you're using your fingers, all that bacteria that's in that pimple, okay, gets into your nails. You take it home, you deal with your people with. So now food gets contaminated, especially if you're dealing with meat, lettuce, things of that nature. So y'all gotta have gloves with everything. Okay. If you're obsessed with the Pimple Popper lady, or you of course know about her cyst removals and things like that, it's closed. Most of the time you will have to cut it, remove the fluid, remove the pus, or morbid matter, which is a larger combination of fluid and pus. Can be yellowish, can be white, it can have a smell to it. It does require medical attention. That's why estheticians and cosmetologists are not doctors. We will try to remove stuff, and clients will say, come on, get this. No, we can't do that. Um, if you're an esthetician, you will see something called cystic acne. That means severe acne. So someone may have a really bad case of cystic acne, which is pimples, clusters together with possible cysts underneath. Okay. So they have to go through a whole lot more than a facial to treat this client. Okay. More than a facial to treat this client. A papule, which is a flat freckle or age spot. A lot of times you will see this on pigment on skin with that's non-pigmented from type 1 all the way down. I've seen individuals who have pigmented skin have freckles as well. But when I see age spots on the hands and also on the chest, I also ask my clients, are they in the sun a lot? Especially, mostly I see this on my European clients. I've seen it on my European clients. Are you in the sun a lot? Okay. That will tell me also if this person has a probability of them, which doctor I'm referring them to. Am I referring them to a dermatologist or an oncologist? Okay. Asking them to go see your general practitioner and have them look at this because you don't want to say maybe signs of cancer, but you definitely want them to go get that looked at. So you find a professional way to say, I really think this is a cause for us to look at something, and move forward. No need of going to a dermatologist that's going to send you over here anyway. Go straight to your general practitioner, and have them tell them you're really concerned about this. Okay, and your beauty professional is concerned. This is a not nodule. Okay. A lot of times you find individuals who have arthritis, just different things going on with swelling, rheumatoid nodes. This hurts really, really bad, y'all. This hurts really, really bad. And so it may be different for every client. Please refer them out. Don't think you can massage this out. All right. Let them go. They need to be checked up on first. Come up here. I wish this thing was bigger. Okay. More papules. Papule and marcels and papules are in the same family. These are, if you look at it, it does not have a pus. It's a pimple, but it does not have pus. A pustule is a pimple with pus. Okay? A pimple with pus. A tumor, you cannot remove that. Refer them to a physician. Okay? Based on how long it's been there, it may be left permanent with an indentation. Okay? Because it goes into the layers of the epidermis. Vesicle, okay, which is like a blister. A wale is like they call them hives also. Something you may be allergic to. We call sometimes whales, we call whelps as well. Okay. So we look at anything from papules, warts, neve. It may be hard, but it may be also a little soft on the outside, a soft texture. We're talking about moles, and then you have the pustule, definitely acne or folliculitis. And with men, how do you know? Mostly men get folliculitis. Folliculitis, the first part is follicle, okay? And here we go with men getting folliculitis. They mostly have it in their beard, okay? And it is like severe itching, inflamed skin. This is where we talk about ingrown hairs. And so the hair, it causes this really itching, can cause an infection as well. For your male friends or husband, spouses who get like the spray and stuff, you may find there's a lot of itching. They get hair color and stuff on their beard. One thing the barbers do, and I'm gonna tell you something, they use product that and leave on their skin for the beards that was meant to be rinsed off. And mainly we talk about hair color. So if they use the Beijing color and said just add water and it makes it darker, that literally crystallizes and has been crystallized, but it's a permanent color. Okay. And so what happens in order for it to stay, it has to have something, some ammonia in it, and it's crystallized. It's already in the powder. You just have to add water to activate. They'll put that on, leave it there. Y'all, every time your spouse would sweat or go in the shower, that water reactivates that color that was never rinsed out. So now there's more itching because something that should have been rinsed off is not rinsed off. Okay, so you have more itching, possible infection of that follicle. They could possibly lose hair in the beard area, so the full beard could disconnect and be in patches. Um, they can put the same, they're doing the same thing on the hairline, around the back of the neck. You're not cleaning the clippers. I mean, so much. Okay, so much. And so that's something to look at as well. Tomorrow, we're going to jump into secondary and tertiary lesions. It is all going to be about your eye. Okay. We are moving into consultation. So, what I want you guys to do today is to just get a little ahead of the game. Go to the health department website, and I want you to check or find what's the highest cases? What's going on? What's the highest case? These people come into your salons and spas. What's the highest cases? And let's talk STD. What's the highest? Give me the age, and maybe we'll just look it up tomorrow as well. But I want you to do some research because you're going to have to do more than just make them look pretty and beautiful. Okay? You got to do more. And when you see it coming, I'm just preparing you. You got to know whether you can service this client or not. And with estheticians, you look at the thing that's the most popular. People want to wax. They don't want to wax eyebrows. They want to wax intimate areas. Well, you got to know if you see something, you know. And I see a whole lot of stuff. I know y'all do. People advertising on Facebook. Some pictures of intimate areas I would not even post. But they're posting their clients. Their intimate area needs to be treated. Okay. So it's not all about the waxing, it's everything that goes along with it. The underarms, warts, boils, cysts, all those things are in there. Where is that coming? Where is all that coming from? So tomorrow we're going to talk about, we got to get into a little bit of consultation, but you're going to see stuff that comes out, and it's going to come through the pores, and it's going to come through the scalp. You need to understand what it is. And most of the time, it's not just them picking up something. It could be living conditions, and it could be whatever in their body that's toxic. Their body is pushing it out before their body just, falls. So before it fails. So we'll definitely check that out tomorrow.